By the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in just a couple of seconds. So buddy Andrew Stetka will join us after he was hot last time out. We'll get his Stets and Figures for the week. A little bit later on, we will chat with our buddy Brad Kronthal from Alloy Sports. Talk about baseball playoffs, the football slate for the week, which, does technically get underway tonight. It is what it is. Kind of, we're all dealing with it. Not much that we can do. But we will start with our friend Andrew Stetka, Stets and Figures, first up this week on Weekend at Bookies. Andrew Stetka, what's going on, pal?
Good morning, Glenn. How are you?
I'm all right. You had a decent little week last time out.
Yeah, we found a couple winners. More than a couple, in fact.
Right. Not so bad. Andrew Stetka, last time out, picked a couple of simple ones. Vikings -2.5 against the Saints, and the Vikings did indeed manage to squeak out a cover as the Saints couldn't connect on a 67-yard field goal at the end? And so they got
I think it was only like 61, but still, somebody else has just Tucker, right?
That's the reality. He took Kentucky +6.5 against Ole Miss, and they did indeed stay within a field goal. He had an Arsenal win draw, Man City to win, and what is this guy's name? Erling
Haaland.
I was going to get it, I promise. Had that parlay at +140, got all of it, and then a 7-point teaser on the Ravens, Cardinals, and Chiefs, and that hit it +120. So Andrew Stetka was 4 for 4 the last time out. Look at this guy. Why are you so bad at our normal NFL picks contest if you can do this?
Well, because we pick those games ahead, like so many days ahead of time. I make a lot of my bets right before action. At least that's the excuse I'm going with.
Yeah, you can make that excuse, but you understand we do Stets and Figures on the same day that we make the picks.
Yeah, I get it. I was hoping you would notice that.
Yeah, that's the thing. So before you get too up on the high horse, it was brought to my attention. I had forgotten that back in June, you told us to take the Commanders to make the playoffs at +165.
Yeah, that's not looking so good.
No, not looking great. The Commanders making the playoffs at +165, as Dan Snyder's trying to threatening to bring down the entire league and prove that it's a mafia. Just nice, pleasant times going on. By the way, I saw this morning.
He might be right about that, to be fair. That might be the only thing he's ever been right about.
He might be, but I would think that he would be part of it. By the way, I saw this morning that William Jackson wants to be traded. Sure, Chief. Yeah, I bet there are teams just lining up to try to trade for a guy who got a bunch of money only to be benched by the Commanders. I'm going to imagine teams are lining up to try to go acquire William Jackson. Jesus Christ. All right, let's get into it. Where are we starting this week for Stets and Figures?
Well, you're talking about the Commanders. Let's start with that game tonight. I've got a prop for you. It's Bears-Commanders tonight. Well, because props are fun, and I found a little bit of an oddity here. Justin Fields, quarterback of the Chicago Bears, he's averaging just 135.8 yards per game this season. He's also facing pressure on 45.7 of his dropbacks, which is tops in the league. The problem with that is he's actually had the second most time to throw, meaning he's the one to blame for all of this. And if anything, in this game, I'm expecting him to use his legs more than his arm. This game is expected to be close, considering the Commanders are currently a 1-point favorite. So I'm going to expect the Bears to lean more on their run game and more on Justin Fields running the ball rather than putting the ball in the air. His passing yardage prop is up at 170.5 for this game. And like I said, he's not even averaging 140 in games this year. So give me the under on Justin Fields passing yards. I expect Chicago to try and keep this game close and burn clock, and I expect it to kind of be a lower scoring game anyhow. So I don't expect the Bears to be airing it out with Justin Fields.
I can't really argue with you. I do wonder if this is like a styles make fights type of bizarre scenario. We paint this as the worst football game in the history of humanity, and then we get there tonight, and it is just a thriller, right? I just wonder.
Yeah, it's going to end up being a 45-42 thriller or something.
Right, somehow that plays out. But no, everything that you say is very logical. I'm not going to argue with it whatsoever. All right, where to next?
We're going to stay in the NFL. The Seattle Seahawks are the number one offense in DVOA pass.
Yeah, they are.
They are just killing it. Very, very strange. And they take on the Arizona Cardinals at home this week. We know the Cardinals to be a slow starting team. They average only 5.2 points in the first half this season, while they put up 14.6 on average in the second half. Seattle is kind of almost the reverse of that, not quite as extreme, but they average 16 first half points, only 9.4 in the second half. So in this game, I like Seattle getting the points at home, but you're going to pay a minus 120 vig on that. I even really like them on the money line. You're going to get plus 122 at that. But in this game, the safest and surest bet for me is going with the Hawks in the first half. So you can get them plus a half point just in case of a tie at your normal standard minus 110 vig. So give me the Seahawks in the first half against the Cardinals at home.
Okay. I can't lie. I want to stay away from this. I'm still unwilling to buy in to the Geno Smith thing. Like, I still think that at some point it falls apart. Now, I get it. We're getting to the point of the season where I was just talking about this with the Giants this week. We have to acknowledge things like just our predispositions. We at some point have to shake because we have to deal.
They have to go away.
Right, we have to deal with reality at some point. But I'm just not quite there on Geno Smith yet. I'm not quite, and I absolutely think there's the possibility that every week could be the week that it's a total clunker and it all falls apart. So I couldn't do it, but I understand based on the evidence that we have why you would make this bet.
Well, and like I said, it's safer to do it for the half. There's also a lot of evidence out there in terms of Cliff Kingsbury as a favorite. Cliff Kingsbury is a favorite in the division. Not good stats there, especially when you compare them to Pete Carroll as an underdog and as a division underdog. There's a lot of good trends there. So just one of those trend bets. And again, the lopsidedness and the Cardinals. This is like not even a trend now. We've got a large sample size of the Cardinals being a very bad first half team and getting a lot of backdoor covers. We saw it just last week with them against the Eagles, in fact. So, they're a second half charging team, and that's what I fear. And that's why I just want to bet that first half with the Seahawks.
So here's the only thing I would say about your bet. If you like it, if you feel good enough to bet it, instead of betting the first half spread, why not just bet first half winner?
Why not? Yeah. Why not take the winner and get the plus
and
odds?
Get the plus money,
I know.
right? Like that's.
I knew you were going there.
That's the only thing.
but it's the just in case there's a late field goal from the Cardinals to tie it at 13 or something. You know, you're still getting that half point.
I understand why
that.
So to your point, I understand the reason why the number is made the way that it is. To me, if you feel good enough about making the bet, right, like then I would go ahead and go to the next step, and I would just bet them to be the winner of the half. And yes, I get it. That means if it ties, you don't get the push. You win the bet because it's a half a point on the spread, but. I'd still.
I'll pay for the half point.
All right.
But I hear you.
All right.
I get it.
Andrew Stetka is with Stets and Figures is what we're going over here on Weekend at Bookies. Where to next?
We've got a really good little interesting parlay for you in the NFL. Really good stat here. This is from Brandon Anderson of the Action Network. There have been 7 previous instances of a team returning from a game in Europe and not having a bye week. Those teams, when they come back in their next game, have all been tied or trailed entering the fourth quarter of their next game. 6 out of those 7 have allowed their opponent team total to go over. And by the way, that includes the 2017 Ravens, who got blown out by the Jags in London and then returned home and lost to the Steelers 26-9. So I get that 7 instances may not seem like a huge sample size, but I actually like both of the teams that we're getting in this spot. One of those teams would, of course, be the Ravens, who have the number 2 passing offense in DVOA, and I think they can do a lot of damage against the Giants. Even though Wink Martindale's got the revenge factor over there, we've seen that Lamar can handle it. He did that against Miami earlier in the year. The other team that we get in that instance is the New York Jets. Now I know everyone is kind of a little weary of the Jets going into Lambeau, but
I wasn't. I wasn't right up until the moment that I found out that you had picked it. I felt great about it up until that moment.
And now you'll get a little bit of insight as to why I picked it. The Jets have looked a little bit better since Zach Wilson returned from injury. They've put up 64 points in 2 games. I get that there were some extenuating circumstances, but I think they can manage to put up a few points against a Packers defense that will not only be a little jet lagged, but has also not really been as good as hyped before entering this season. So The numbers we're looking at here, the Ravens team total is over 25.5. The Jets team total is only over 17.5. So you put those two things together, you're getting plus 258 odds.
All right, so Ravens team total and Jets team total, parlay those two and make that bet.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Plus 258 on the two team total parlay there.
All right. I am intrigued. I am intrigued by that. I don't have a real good reason not to bet it. What did we learn, say, from Minnesota and New Orleans last week when they were coming back from London? Like New Orleans,
it was the same story. It was the same story. Both of them returned and allowed their opponent's team total to go over.
Okay, I knew that New Orleans for sure did, obviously, because there were 1 billion points scored in that game. But I didn't know if Chicago was over. Although I guess the number was probably set pretty low for Chicago because they're Chicago, so that does make sense.
Because they're Chicago.
Exactly right. All right, and finally, fourth part of this. What's your next Stet and Figure?
Finally, we're going to go back to the well on a soccer parlay and back to the well on Manchester City and our friend Erling Haaland. Manchester City play Liverpool this weekend. These two teams were the betting favorites coming into the season. Only one of them has really lived up to that billing, though. We're about a quarter of the way through the Premier League season. Manchester City enters the weekend second on the table with 23 points from 9 games. Liverpool has played 8 matches and won just 2 of them and has 10 points along the way. They sit in 10th place. Erling Haaland got the job done for us a couple weeks ago. He not only scored, he scored 3 times in that game against Manchester United. So we're going to go back to that as well. Erling Haaland to score, Manchester City to win or draw. You basically get even odds at this. It's minus 101. So City just has to get a point on the road at Liverpool, and Haaland will have to score. So just 2 legs of that parlay. He's got 15 goals in 9 games for Manchester City.
Ooh.
It's insane. He's scoring at an insane clip.
Ooh.
So,
and where in the World Cup he'll play for who?
He will play for Norway.
Okay. Are they in the World Cup? Did they make it?
That's actually a good question. I don't know.
I don't know. That's this is when
I actually don't think they are in the World Cup.
Oh, that's very sad. That's very sad.
I have to be honest with you, Glenn. I am so out on the World Cup.
I know, dude.
As big of a soccer fan as I am. It's so hard for me to think about. I know. There's a ton of
it's football season.
Other reasons that you wouldn't want to get into a World Cup in Qatar.
Right.
But the fact that it's November, December, I'm just like, it's really an interruption to the club soccer season, and it's a pain in the neck to even have to think about.
Well, for you care about that. I don't care about I just don't have a club, so I don't have a reason to care about the club soccer season.
Yeah, of course.
But like, damn, dude, like I have somebody I know who's been really pushing for us to do World Cup content. I'm like, bro, you have to understand, I love the World Cup. Like, I am all in, and I can't pretend like there is an appetite for World Cup coverage. Like if ever there was a World Cup for the U.S. to have missed, like, it's a real shame that they missed the last one instead of missing this one, right? Like, God, I could have really used them in the last one. This one, I don't care. They stink anyway, so it doesn't really help me all that
Well,
much.
at least we know they'll be in the next one. That's for sure.
That's true. There is that. All right, sure. You've been good enough in these that I'd be willing to ride with it. What the hell do I know? 100%. Let's play this one. At @Stetka is how you follow him on Twitter. 4-0 last time around. We will see if he can follow it up with another dominant performance. But based on ever since that brutal 0-4 week, you've been like 8-2, correct? Or something?
Yeah, we picked up the pace a little
10-2. Haven't you had 2 4-0 weeks since the 0-4?
No, just the one.
Just the one.
4-0 and we had a 2-2.
So okay, so it's just
6-2.
Still, that's a pretty good trend. Let's see if we can keep that trending in this direction.
But with some plus money in there too, we got to consider that.
That's a great point. It's a great point. Coming out on top. All right, buddy. Appreciate you. We'll talk to you again in 2 weeks. All right.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Andrew Stetka joining us for Stets and Figures here on Weekend at Bookies. Of course, you're going to head to the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel to make all of these bets that Andrew just suggested. It is the place to be for every major event. They've got same-game parlay plus betting. You can still register your Super Bowl bet, your futures bet of $25 or more. Register it to win 2 free tickets to the Super Bowl by going to FanDuel.com/SBNAZ. Where else would you want to be but the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland? When we come back in, let's talk more about strategies, shall we? Alloy Sports Brad Kronthal will join us. We'll talk a little bit about the baseball playoffs and Also, quite a bit about the week in the NFL. That's next. It's Weekend at Bookies. See Olympic athletes in action as the nation's best horses and riders compete in one of the world's premier equestrian events at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Academy, October 13th through 16th in Cecil County. Don't miss the breathtaking excitement of the dynamic cross-country competition or the elegance of dressage and precision of show jumping. There's also great shopping and activities, including a fresh food fest, corgi race, and a beer, wine, and spirits showcase. So come enjoy a beautiful fall day at the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, October 13th through 16th. Learn more and buy tickets at maryland5star.us.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Leon Twyman and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and offer you a few winners. And every other Thursday at 11:40, tune in for Weekend at Bookies as Andrew Stetka and Alloy Sports Brad Kronthal help make you some money for the weekend. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
Join Glenn at halftime of every Ravens game for the Project Game Day halftime show at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. We apologize in advance. There's not much we can do about his face.
You are listening to Weekend at Bookies or watching Weekend at Bookies, brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Again, big fight coming up on Saturday nights. You can watch it for free in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, and you can win money betting on the fight. Deontay Wilder, Robert Helenius. Don't pay for the pay-per-view. Wilder is an overwhelming favorite, minus 850. Robert Helenius, who's, been on one recently, plus 510, quite the live dog there. A little bit later on today, if you follow Live Casino and Hotel Maryland on social media, you'll see Griffin and I offer our weekly advice for betting, and I will include a pick for this fight and how I think you can win some money, plus money, betting on the Deontay Wilder-Robert Helenius fight. So make sure you're following Live Casino and Hotel Maryland on social media. Joining us now, our buddy from Alloy Sports. We'll talk a little baseball playoffs, a little NFL this week. He is our friend, Mr. Brad Kronthal, and he's back with us here on Weekend at Bookies. Brad, what's going on, pal? How are you?
Doing great, Glenn. Great time. NFL and MLB playoffs. Glad to be with you. How are you?
It's the Padres Dodgers. I know all anybody wants to talk about last night is the stupid goose, right? Like, I get it, and don't get me wrong, it was entertaining, it was fun, But, like, dude, that was the type of game that reminds you of why this time of year is so great. Like, you could feel the intensity of every freaking pitch, man. Like, I love. It's why, sadly, I'm a bit sad that the Orioles aren't a part of it, but it is what it is. Like that, this is what makes it so special. They go to Josh Hader in the 8th inning, and it was almost like dumb luck, right? Like every ball was hit hard because he's facing the Dodgers. It was just such an intense game last night.
Yeah, it was, and I think Padres-Dodgers, when both teams are playing well, is probably the best rivalry in baseball right now. Even in the 9th inning, Freddie Freeman hits one off the top of the wall, and the final out, when it off the bat, couldn't tell if that one might have had a ride.
No doubt.
So extremely great series, really entertaining. They've all been extremely entertaining, but like you said, I hope the series continues to stay competitive like it's been for the first couple games.
Was there anything, 2 games today, obviously in the American League, and then another full day coming up on Saturday, but 2 games they're alternating for now. Is there anything that jumps out at you when there's only a 2-game slate? And look, everybody is obviously sending out a very good pitcher in these games.
Yeah, and one thing you realize with the playoffs is every pitch is so important. The focus and the amount of detail that goes into every single pitch is just different than when it comes to the regular season. So that's why you've seen some totals that haven't hit where they are. I've seen some line movement today. There's really one play that I like, and it's Framber Valdez for Houston today. I like his strikeout total, 5.5. I like him hitting the over here.
Okay.
I'm just not – the one thing that we can't quantify is how is Seattle going to respond to that epic collapse the other night? Are they going to come out motivated, or are they just going to slump and be really discouraged? So not really sure how they're going to come out, but Framber Valdez, he's had 6 strikeouts or more in 9 of his last 10 appearances. Both appearances against the Mariners this season have gone well over that 7 and 8 strikeouts respectively. So I expect him to stay the course, and I think if Seattle comes out a little tepid or really pushing, to start the game, he can get some early Ks there, and I'd like him to hit that total. But like you said, I've looked at a couple of these other lines. Yankees and Guardians, that totals number is what I was looking at. It's gone up and down to 6 and 6.5. That one's tough. Shane Bieber Cortez. So my favorite play today is Framber Valdez strikeout total with the over.
I like that. In fact, I love that play, and I might be racing down right now to the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in order to make that. I really do love that play. I think that is a very good one. Again, just sheer numbers for today. That's the first game today. And the Astros running a half on the money line, -162. The Yankees in Game 2 tonight, -146 against the Guardians. I actually kind of like Cleveland a little bit as a live dog with Bieber on the mound tonight. I'm not sure I'm racing to make the bet, but like if you told me I had to bet that game, I actually think I might lean Cleveland in the second game tonight. Let's talk a little bit about Alloy Sports, and let's talk about football trends. Let's talk about some of the betting strategies. Remember the last time you and I chatted, we still had very little data from this year to work with. Now we're 5 games into the season. How much has the additional data helped in building strategies with Alloy for football season?
It's absolutely huge. And what we like to say is, give it for football or really every sport, give it about a month. You can have a good sample size and know what teams this year are doing in relative basis to historical teams and output. So we feel great about the data now.
Hang on. I'm sorry, Brad, because I literally just said this. They just announced they're postponing the Yankees game tonight. Apparently, it's raining in New York, and they are announcing that they're postponing. So here's what I wouldn't do is put a bet in on the Yankees-Guardians game tonight because it's not going to happen. So I apologize. They're going to play it tomorrow at 1 o'clock instead. So back to our thought on football. I'm so sorry.
No, absolutely. You got to cut in there with the breaking news. That's pretty wild. Normally baseball doesn't get that head. Yeah, absolutely. But no plays, Yankees-Guardians.
God, that means I don't have anything to distract me from the stupid Commanders-Bears game tonight. Son of a bitch! That was like I was feeling really good that like I wouldn't suck myself into watching that dreadful football game because I just watched the baseball game instead. Damn it!
We got Morgan State football.
Yeah, I'll watch Morgan State football. That's what I'll watch instead tonight. Damn it! I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know this I completely derailed you. I feel terrible. This is not what you're supposed to. I'm being very unprofessional in this moment. But God, you understand what I'm feeling right now. Like, this was going to be my pleasant distraction from having to watch the abomination that is Commanders Bears.
Yeah, that makes two of us, Glenn, and no hurt feelings here. I would do the same thing. Breaking news is breaking news, and you covered it. 10 out of 10.
All right. Back to the data. Back to Alloy Sports.
Absolutely. Bottom line short, we've got a great sample size of data right now. We've got, like you said, over 5 games from this season, over 5 weeks, I should say. Really meshes well with the historical data, so we feel really great about the strategies we've built that have, historical data combined with this season to pick winners for upcoming weeks and games. So last week, my picks went 5-2-1, and the only reason I had that one push was because I didn't get the best line on the Bears game last week. Got it at 7 instead of 7.5. So my brother, our CEO, got it at 7.5, and he's been teasing me all week about it. So really, the forecast we put out last week went 6-2.
So, do you want to tell us about what that forecast was? You want to share a little light on that?
So, love coming on your show because it's like a perfect time of the week. We just pushed out one for this week as well. So last week's we called the ground and pound strategy, and nod to Rex Ryan. A lot of rushing, hard rushing, after contact yards. And we had a few plays that hit last week. We have a few from this week. This week we just pushed out one, minutes ago. We're calling it the chain mover strategy. Really putting an emphasis on wide receiving play, getting first downs, and then looking at road teams. So last week's really took looked at close underdogs to cover, and this chain mover strategy is looking at heavy favorites. So really depends on what you're looking at from your strategy. But those are two that, we feel really good about, both over 60% win percentage from the past 3 years.
Anybody in particular that fits that strategy for this week that you'd be willing to share with us? Brad, you there?
Yeah, you got me.
Oh, sorry, got you. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, Brad. Anybody in particular that might fit that strategy this week that you just jumps out at you?
Yeah, so for the chain mover strategy, which we threw out there today, you can see it on our insights page on Alloy Sports. We're looking at heavy favorites. So 2 games. The first one's the Buccaneers that lined opened at -8. I think on FanDuel now it's -8.5 at Pittsburgh. I actually felt really good about Pittsburgh last week. They're one of the teams we liked, one of the 2 losses last week. I thought they would cover even with Kenny Pickett. They looked dreadful. Tom Brady didn't have the best week last week. I think he'll be a little more motivated this week now that the Giselle news didn't just drop. Maybe that'll play into that. But Bucks -8 is the first play. And then the second play is the Ravens at the Giants that lined open at -5. I actually thought that line might go down closer to the Giants' favor, but
it's the other way.
Going up. So I've seen it at -6. A little bit surprising to me, but this strategy, likes the Ravens. Haven't seen many blowouts for the Ravens. They've had the opportunity to, obviously, but second halves have been an issue. So we'll see. But Buccaneers and Ravens are the 2 plays from this new strategy we're putting out. Chain mover strategy, it's hit at 63%. I
like it. I think I like it. Anytime you're telling me you like the Steelers to get their butts kicked and the Ravens to win, my God, you don't need to tell me anything more. Like, let's bet every aspect of it immediately. Brad, I saw something on Brad Kronthal with us, Alloy Sports. I saw something on your guys' Twitter page, and it's interesting to me because, admittedly, it's a strategy that I'm using. I'm actually ever put a little money on the Falcons this week to cover against the 49ers. There's a bunch of reasons why I've done it. One being it's a 1:00 game with a West Coast team, and the 49ers just traveled to the East Coast a week ago, and they've got a bunch of injured players and 3 long flights in a short amount of time. Not necessarily the best thing for guys that have been dealing with injuries. And the final piece of it, and why I decided to make the bet, is what you guys shared, which is the Falcons are 5-0 against the spread this year. This always goes back to like the bettor's edge concept, which is just because something happened in the past doesn't really change the likelihood of it happening again. So how do you consider data like that? When you look at a team that's 5-0 against the spread, obviously they haven't played the same team every week. They haven't faced the same spread every week. It's interesting, right? But does it really impact what happens between the Falcons and the 49ers this week?
Yeah, so from a head-to-head perspective, it has no impact on the Falcons and the 49ers game. I actually like that game. It fits our ground and pound strategy, so I have a play on that as well. for Atlanta plus 5.5. But what it does, so if you build a strategy, say on our app, you have your stats and filters you add in there, you have a strategy that's hit, say, 60% of the time, and it likes Atlanta. If you see ATS records and you say, this game's close, I don't know if Atlanta's going to cover, or say it's 5.5, I just think, the 49ers might win by a touchdown. What this shows you is, that confidence level of, Atlanta might not win every game, but they've been in it enough to keep it in at least close enough to cover the spread. So it's that extra level of confidence that you might have that Atlanta's capable of covering a spread line.
I like that. Makes me feel better about the decision that I've already made. So I appreciate you sharing it with me. All right, man, what does everybody need to know about with Alloy Sports? Give everybody the rundown, not only how they sign up and what they're going to find, but social. Give us the entire rundown for Alloy Sports.
I'll do my best. So Alloy Sports, we let you build your own custom betting strategies really quickly, really easily. You can find us on the App Store at Alloy Sports. Really exciting today. We just launched our Alloy Pro platform. That's got over 200 stats and filters. That's our full premium platform. You'll get it free for 30 days when you sign up. You can find us on social at Alloy Sports, and myself, Brad Kronthal. I'm co-founder at _Kronthal, Kronthal. I think I covered all.
I think you got it all, man. Always appreciate you, BK. Thank you for taking the time for us. We'll talk to you again in a couple weeks, all right?
Thanks, Glenn. Good luck on your bet.
Thank you, buddy. Brad Kronthal, Alloy Sports, joining us here on Weekend at Bookies. All right, we are winding down for this week's episode of Weekend at Bookies. We like to end the week by trying to go crazy. Just really throw it all out there and see if you can't find a big winner. Griffin, the last time we did a gratuitous grouping, how did it go for us?
Not good. My first leg of it hit. I took the Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen over 3.5 goals on a Friday afternoon.
And there were a bunch of them.
Oh, there were a bunch of them. Yes, it hit. And then I wanted to do the Aaron Judge.
It was a crazy scoring game.
Yeah, it was. It was like I forget what it was too, but I think early on you didn't have to sweat that one out. And then I wanted to do Aaron Judge to hit home run number 62 that Friday night as well.
Actually, it didn't hit as comfortably as I thought, but it was 4-0, so it did hit.
And Aaron Judge did not do that. Took him a couple days.
Yes.
Didn't do it while I was in New
I thought
York.
there was a little bit of a selfishness there. I thought that you were thinking with your heart instead of your brain.
Exactly. And
as we know in betting, it's the worst thing you can do. You got to completely detach your heart as much
yourself
as 100%.
From betting. And then I had Mackenzie Dern to get a submission win, and she ended up just losing the fight. That was tough to watch. That was UFC.
So you're 1 for 5, 1 for 6 now? What? I don't remember how many of these we've done. 6? I think it's 6, right?
Yeah, I think it has been 6.
All
yes. Right. But they're all like very high plus odds. So,
I understand
that,
but still,
I understand.
We got to win another one.
I know. And I think this week is
the
week we get back on track.
A Griffin's gratuitous grouping that you are feeling great about going into this week.
Yes, I do.
All right.
And we are going to start early tomorrow morning on the other side of the world with some cricket. We're going to Australia. England is at plus money over Australia in T20.
Why?
Cricket.
Why?
And here's why. Well, okay, because England has been red hot in the series. They won the first 2 games of this 3-game series.
Okay.
They having 3 batters score 80-plus runs through the first 2 matches of the series. They're creeping towards becoming the T20 World Cup favorites at this point, so I think they're going to keep the momentum going.
Plus money?
Because they're in Australia, so they just don't like that.
But
I got more here. All right, and Australia's lost 3 of their last 4 matches played at the park that they're playing. I guess technically tonight if you're in Australia, but tomorrow morning for us here in Canberra. And the Aussies have the worst win rate when coming in as a favorite in T20 competition since the start of 2021 at 51.9%.
Okay.
So we're taking England at plus money to get things started for us.
Okay.
In the cricket world.
Okay. Sure. This is one of those ones that because I don't know anything, I'm just going to work under the assumption that never mind. I wish you well. I wish you well.
I wish you should tail, and then we can both be very well.
Next.
All right, then tomorrow night as well, Canadian football, my favorite, Hamilton Tiger Cats plus 7.5 against the Calgary Stampeders. They're getting more than a touchdown in the road in what is a must-win because Calgary is not really playing for much. They have a playoff spot locked up as the CFL regular season comes to an end. They they can't earn the first round bye anymore, and they also can't fall out of the playoffs. So they're not playing for a whole lot at the moment. Meanwhile, the Ticats have to stay ahead of the Red Blacks, who are only 2 points behind them. So it's a must win for the Ticats, and they're getting more than a touchdown. So I love plus 7.5 for Hamilton.
Okay, sure.
And then finally,
I wish I could offer some sort of analysis for this. I cannot. I'll just whatever. You got it.
Finally, we are going back to the UFC, and we are going to get a winner this time in the main event between Alexa Grasso and Viviane Araujo. I like Grasso to win it by decision, and because this will almost definitely go the distance. Of the 9 Grasso fights in the UFC, only 2 have been ended inside the distance, and her only loss in the last 3 years is to the current strawweight champion, Carla Esparza. So I think she'll grind it out and get the decision on the cards, while Araujo, her last 6 fights have all gone to decision, and her losses in those 6 fights have been to Caitlin Chookagian and Jessica Ai, who are
everybody knows that.
So she doesn't fare well against pure strikers like Alexa Grasso. So it's a matchup nightmare for Araujo, and I like her to win it on the card Saturday night at plus 125, Grasso via decision.
Why is she plus 1? Oh, via decision.
Yeah, via decision,
okay.
yes.
All right,
yes.
go to the points.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
All right.
And then you parlay all that.
Yeah.
And you get plus 793.
Okay, so you can go put some money on it right now?
Oh, yeah,
you
absolutely.
Put a nice little $10 on that, and you can
That's
be
what I
looking
like.
at... You could
about
be
an
looking
$80
at seven,
nearly, because you get $79.35.
Yeah, something
like
that.
The payout. Put $10.
Okay,
I love it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Give it a shot. Why not?
And I'll be using that money to buy your Taco Bell Monday morning.
Oh, that's right. Well, I don't. All right.
Well, I guess
we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out. All right. Very good. Hey, thanks to Brad Kronthal. Thanks to Andrew Stetka. We'll be back on Tuesday with another Simply the Bets. In the meantime, make sure you get down to the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland this weekend to get all of your bets in. And may the odds be ever in your favor. This has been Weekend at Bookies.